What's up, guys? It's your girl Felicia. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel. Now, if you stop by here, you know what we're doing. You know the drill. We are reimagining life at any age and at any stage, and we can do it. Now, listen, have you ever heard the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up? That's where we are. That's where we are right now. We are ready as the students of life, the students of growth, the students of happiness, the students of abundance. The teacher is now showing up because we are learning how to do just that. We're learning how to be happy. We're learning how to be healthy. We're learning how to be whole. We're learning how to embrace everything that is out here for us right now. We're no longer waiting for it. We're no longer on this mission to stay stuck. And I know that sounds like a dichotomy. Who would be on a mission to stay stuck? But like I said in a different video, when we keep playing that old app in the background, when it keeps replaying that old outdated program, we are actually actively fighting for the familiar. But we're not doing that anymore because, again, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk from a biblical standpoint, right? God doesn't give you what you're not ready for, what you can't handle, because if you do get it, what's going to happen? If it's a bag of money, $1 million, or, that most amazing relationship, or that, gorgeous home, or whatever it is, more than likely you're going to mess it up. You're going to blow through it. You're not going to be a good steward over it because you as the student aren't ready to be taught the things you need to be taught in order to hold on to it. Is that not an amazing revelation? And for those of you who feel like you've known this all your life, let me know in the comments if this is something that you've been living by all your life. Because, hey, if this is something you've been living by all your life, ain't nobody mad. But what I do know is that there are people who are learning certain things later in life, which is why we know that you should always be in learning mode. We should always be in growth mode. And again, on this channel, we are reimagining life at any age and at any stage. Now, here's one of the things that we've definitely got to be honest about. All right? Because a lot of times we're not honest, and that's how we end up in some of these situations, whether it's losing something that we really want, or not getting it, or staying in an old pattern that we feel like we've outgrown, but technically we haven't, because we haven't learned the lessons that keep us out of that pattern, if that makes sense. Here's how we know that we're ready. All right, we've got 3 points. And this is a real quick video because guess what? I'm so excited about it. I want to get right to the meat. We're not going to do a whole lot of fluff and all of that stuff. We're going to get right to the point. And the point is knowing that as the student of life, of happiness, of abundance, of spiritual enrichment, you got to know when you are finally in that place where you can embrace the knowledge, embrace the wisdom, and put it into practical practice. It's one thing, getting certain lessons, but it's another thing when you actually allow those lessons to soak in, and then you can put them into action. 3 signs that you're ready. 3 signs that as the student, you are now ready for the teacher to show up and give you the lessons that you need to have that beautiful, big, abundant life that maybe you've spent a whole lot of years looking for, searching for, asking for, wanting. It was hear all the time. But again, those practical lessons, maybe you were not embracing them. But here we go. 3 signs that you are finally ready. You start to think differently. You start to have a totally different outlook on life. Life is no longer your oppressor. Life is no longer your opponent. Life is no longer in competition with you. You are actually in sync with it. And you start moving in flow. When you start to think differently, that's when we start to do different, right? Because what's the old adage? When you know different, you do different. Something like that, right? Okay. Number 2, you are actively seeking the good. You're actively seeking the good. And I'll give you an example. A friend of mine sent a message in our friend group chat, right? And it was a long message. And it was basically just like a life update, because she sends those kind of regularly, which we love, because we like to keep up with what we got going on and keep up with each other. We're all busy. And she had a lot of things in there, but one of the things was especially good. Now, I'm not going to go into what was in there because, of course, that's her business, that's her story. But there were a lot of in there, but there was one thing in there that was especially good, right? But there was so much other stuff peppered in that if you did not actively focus and actively look for the good in that message, especially as an empath, you feel inundated with all of the other stuff. And that's how life is. There's so much out here. There's so much information. There's so much to soak in. Think about it, the news, everything, right? There's so much. But if you actively seek out the good in everything that you're hearing, seeing, experiencing, if you actively seek out and focus on the good, then you know that you're ready for more good to come in, because what's happening is you're not allowing all of those other things that are peppered in to dictate your energy, to dictate your mind, to shift you in a bad mood, to shift you into a space of, indecision or, unhappiness or, just in a bad way. Because we know there's so much out, especially when you're scrolling on social media. That's why they call it doom scrolling. That is exactly why they call it doom scrolling, because you can go down the rabbit hole of all of this other stuff out here without actively looking for the good. And before you know it, you have spent your entire day doom scrolling. And by the end of the day, you're so drained. Your energy is down. Sometimes you can't even sleep because some of that stuff is in your mind and is playing in the background. So number 2 was we've got to actively seek out the good. And then the third thing is embrace change. Embrace change. Now, we know that change is not always comfortable. We don't always want it to happen. But if things are changing, that means that it's meant to happen. So if it's meant to happen, if it's inevitable, then why not? Why not embrace it and figure out how to go with the flow? How to move in sync with that change. That's how you know that you are now ready to be taught the lessons that you need to be taught, to put those lessons into practical practice so that you can have your ultimate dream life, your ultimate glow up, your ultimate abundant life experience. Because again, going back to biblical principles, we are not meant to be here to suffer. Yes, we're here to serve. Yes, we're here to create, but we're here to create abundantly. We're here to live abundantly. We're here to exist abundantly, not under duress, not to be oppressed, suppressed or depressed. None of that. We're not supposed to be pressed at all. At all. So when we learn these 3 lessons, when we have these 3 signs, show up in our lives, then we know, as students of life, as students of reimagining life at any age and at any stage, that's when you know you're ready. When number 1, you're starting to think differently. Number 2, you're actively seeking the good in whatever it is that, is peppered into your day. And number 3, embracing change. Those are 3 signs that you are truly ready to reimagine your life at any age, baby, and at any stage. Don't you love it? I know I do. All right, guys, it's your girl, Felicia. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit the like button. Comment down below. Let me know what stage you're in. Let me know if you've been having, any of these signs showing up in your life, how you feel about it, what's your take on it. We like to share information with the rest of the whole, reimagination gang. We want to do everything in our power to level up our lives, and level it up not in a difficult way, but in a way that keeps us in flow, that keeps us happy, that keeps us wealthy and wise. All right. So hit subscribe on the way out. Let me know in the comments what you got going on. Share out the video. Again, we are reimagining life at any age and at any stage. It's your girl, Felicia. Until the next video, I love you guys.